Should I title this video "FUFU carried YIXUAN to tier 0"? That would be a crazy title. But Prydwen, I feel like next update on this, you should test more Jufufu on any other DPS because it's not fair. Like literally, it's not fair for Jufufu, and it's also not fair for Yushuan. I hope the next Prydwen tier list doesn't disappoint me. What's up guys, Hyun here. So today we are gonna do another Prydwen tier list video. We're gonna see what Prydwen is cooking this time. Is it gonna be controversial again, just like every Prydwen tier list that I ever done? Because the community is somehow I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's up with the community lately. Is there tier list, okay? Just leave them alone. I mean, come on, build your own tier list if you're gonna cry every time Prydwen posts a tier list, okay? The point of that tier list is to see what's the meta, and of course, you can argue. And stuff. But there's no need for hateful speech. I don't know. Like literally, I keep saying hateful speech from like Prydwen. Okay, I'm not even blazing Prydwen. I just feel bad because Prydwen always gets shit on by the community for having a tier list. You do guys know that you can build your own tier list and not look at Prydwen tier list at all. And also, the tier list is supposed to be a discussion, not an argument. Okay, so that's why like other CCs still like literally look at Prydwen tier list because they wanna have discussions with the tier list itself. It's supposed to be a discussion. Okay. Anyways, let's stop talking about those stupid people. We're gonna talk about the Prydwen tier list today, and we're gonna see what will happen. Did Jufufu became tier 0 character? We don't know. Did Trigger still on like tier 0 after Jufufu's release? We don't know, but we will see today. Okay, here is the tier list. By the way, like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below what you think about this tier list and about the stuff that I'm gonna say today. I might say some controversial stuff, but we still don't know. Like, because it will support me, and watch the whole video. Watch until the end, okay? Do not skip around, just to support the channel. Anyways, let's stop talking about the channel itself. Let's talk about the tier list itself. So anyways, again, just disclaimer, Zenless on Zero is a skill-based game. You do not compare it to HSR tier list, where HSR tier list is more on turn-based game where they have a set of skill that is very limited rather than a skill-based game where you can literally just dodge and parry. Okay, so do not compare this. HSR players that are probably watching this complaining, another people like doom poster saying, oh my god, this is another HSR tier list situation meta wise. No, okay, no, it's very different from HSR. So let's avoid those topics. Anyways, let's get into this. Let's actually look at the tier list now, and then we're gonna see the changelogs later. Whoa, there's actually a lot of changes. I just saw a lot of changes. Okay, look at these changes, guys. Whoa, okay, first of all, let's look at the support first. Okay, support, reigning champion is still Astrayao. Caesar is still down here. She's on the watch list to see if she can go up or go down. We still don't know, but she has like the watch list tag. I hope she doesn't go down. She's still very strong. I really hope she doesn't go down. Though she's not really a must pull in the game at the moment. I know Caesar is in the game right now. But the thing is, as many will think, even people that knows to play Zenless on Zero, Caesar doesn't really have. She has a value to give. She has literally a big value to give, but she doesn't have any use on those values. Basically, meaning the value of her kit is becoming lower and lower, even though she's very valuable in general sense, because there's no survivability in the game. So it's either Caesar is gonna go down or Caesar is gonna go up. So we still don't know, but we will see in the future, because I still believe that Caesar is gonna go up some way, somehow, or at least like be neutral on tier 0.5. I don't know. But one of the big changes is actually Sokaku. Is it Sokaku tier 1? Like just last tier list? Or am I forgetting something? I don't know. I don't remember Sokaku being in tier 0.5. But how is Sokaku in tier 0.5? Is it because of Hugo Miyabi? I know that Miyabi, Lycon, Sokaku, Teamcom has been very popular lately because of like the stun freeze tech. So maybe that's why. Honestly, I don't know. You know what? I would argue Sokaku is a very strong buff. I've been using her lately too. Long time ago, when I'm using Sokaku, I used to hate her. But because I don't know how to use her. But now that I know how to use Sokaku is not that bad. And her animations is not that long. It's long if if you're doing some bad ass shit that you don't know how to rotate with Sokaku. But if you know how to play Sokaku and rotate with Sokaku, you would know how easy it is to play Sokaku and actually learn and to play her without using like the long animations that she has. I would still argue Nicole should go up, and Nicole is still not up, sadly. Okay, now that we're finished with support, let's see on the stunner, the big thing, Jafafa. Whoa, aftershock buff with partner, meaning she's here on tier 0.5, or you could argue that she's here on tier 0.5 because her partner is very strong. And that could mean Evelyn and YIXUAN. Okay? So, honestly, I'm like surprised that Sokaku is tier 0.5. At first, I said she's gonna be on tier 0 next to Trigger. But I feel like this placement is more, it makes sense more because like Jufufu is just better than Trigger. I'm just gonna say that, okay? But damage wise, of course, Trigger is gonna be more like, damage wise, so like Trigger is gonna be more valuable. But when it comes to Jufufu's kit is and buff is just too good. To like literally to compare it to Trigger, I feel like Jufufu like and Trigger is in the same field. So maybe that's why it's not fair for both of them to be compared with Lighter and tier 0. At first I said Lighter, Trigger, and Jufufu is gonna be on tier 0. That's my guess. But now that I think about it more and I saw this tier list, this makes sense more because these two just cannot be compared with Lighter. Lighter being literally a very niche character, and Lighter also like his like team or the DPS that he has is still on tier 0.5 and tier 0. Miyabi, Evelyn, Hugo. So like literally, I see a lot of people like still thinking like, why is Lighter still in tier 0? But it makes sense. Like Lighter should still be in tier 0 because of because of his teammates. See, they're still here, and I would honestly, I'm very happy with this placement for Jufufu. Though I'm sad because I'm a Trigger sucker. I'm sad that Trigger goes down, but I do know the value of Jufufu, and the value of Jufufu just can't be compared. Like it's debatable on both of them, but both of them cannot be compared to Lighter because Lighter is just very niche. And both of these two are like very universal but also very niche on their own perspective team comp basically. Lycon, this one, I feel like Lycon is getting carried by Hugo itself. And Yabi too. Which is kinda like I know a lot of people are saying like Lycon is like strong and stuff because he's very niche. But honestly, I just don't see Lycon being on tier 0.5 because I just think of him as like he's being carried. I just feel like he's being carried. That's also why I think Sokaku is here. Like I feel like Sokaku is also being carried by like best in slot team. And I guess you could argue with that you could argue also like some of the stunners are like getting carried by their own DPS. But the thing is, I just don't know. M0 Lycon on 0.5. I feel like I don't know, but this is my guess. I just have like a bad feeling about it. I like Lycon, but I wouldn't say Lycon is in tier 0.5. I feel like I would argue Lycon should be next to Chingy because Chingy is very strong, but I feel like Chingy is better than Lycon when it comes to like being a stunner, just a stunner in general. But like now that you think about it in general sense that Chingy is better than Lycon, now you will see that Lycon is just being carried by his DPS. And basically, just like Chingy is getting dragged down because of her DPS going down. Like Soldier 11, I know it's not best in slot, but she's getting dragged down. Look at this. So, yep. Kinda sad in my opinion. But I would this is like one criticism about this, I feel like Lycon should go down. Like at least, or at least like honestly, I don't know at this point. The thing is, I want Lycon to be tier 0.5 also because of his team, his DPS, but also I feel like it's like it's downplaying, I feel like Lycon being here downplaying these two, which is a fucking like very arguably, not even arguably, like a fact that these two are just stronger than Lycon. I don't know. But anyway, secondary DPS, there's no changes. Yep, there's still no changes about this. Being a secondary DPS, should I say it? I feel like Yanagi should be in tier 0. I didn't say this last time I look at Prydwen's tier list when like the secondary DPS category changes came out. I didn't say it much. But I feel like Yanagi should go up next to Vivian. One of the reasons why, because Yanagi Miyabi team comp is very strong because Miyabi deals a lot of damage and Yanagi also deals a big damage. Yes, DPS wise, yes, Yanagi deals a lot of damage, but next to Miyabi, she does more damage and she's considered as secondary DPS on Miyabi's team. So I feel like Yanagi should at least go up, Of course, it's not as a DPS, but more on secondary DPS. She's very strong as secondary DPS, and also her disorder, like proccing to disorder, to this kinds of disorder, is like very strong. I feel like she should go up. Anyways, that's all. That's my only changes on the secondary DPS part. Now for the most surprising one in this whole tier list, YIXUAN finally being decided to be put on next to Miyabi in tier 0. Fire. I feel like here's my thing. YIXUAN is very strong, but I would argue that she's not as strong as Miyabi compared like in general sense where Miyabi can just brute force anything because she's anomaly. The only limiting part about YIXUAN is that she will deal a lot more damage on stun, but also I would also argue that sheer force is very strong and it feels like an attack character that can deals a lot of damage on the stun like without any stun. While the stun is still not activated. So personal opinion, Miyabi is still stronger than YIXUAN, but YIXUAN is definitely in the same level as Miyabi. Okay? And also with all the text that techniques and like secret mechanic that YIXUAN is somehow getting more and more as time passes, YIXUAN's value is gonna go up. There's no way. And one more thing, I feel like this is controversial. I feel like FUFU carried YIXUAN. Definitely. Yes, FUFU is getting carried by YIXUAN, but also FUFU can handle itself better than YIXUAN because FUFU's value, right? She gives a lot of like straight up stat increase. YIXUAN is like you're gonna need FUFU for YIXUAN to deal to give more stats for your YIXUAN. Same as Evelyn too, but should I title this video FUFU carried YIXUAN to tier 0? That would be a crazy title, but hey, you know what? Just put that behind your back for now. What I just said. But yeah, this is very surprising. Honestly, I'm very happy for YIXUAN being in tier 0, and I feel like this is now a very healthy meta wise, because this gives a clear sign that in lore itself, Void Hunter characters are strong characters, like tier 0 characters. And you will realize this because when Miyabi came out, until today, Miyabi didn't go down at all and nobody goes up. Like the DPS in tier 0.5 didn't go up at all. So that's why it's crazy and also healthy at the same time, where it will show you the damage ceiling. This is not even damage ceiling. I feel like this is like the base damage wise for tier 0. Okay, they're not even like indicating a damage ceiling. I guess you could say also they are the damage ceiling in the game, but I feel like this is more healthy because this means that future characters in the game are probably gonna be in tier 0.5, but if somehow in some way a DPS became a tier 0, that would be crazy. Okay, that would be crazy. We still don't know. We also with like the new anomaly DPS that are coming, basically like freaking Alice. There's no way that Alice can be like a sub DPS, but Alice being here coming out next patch, I wonder what Alice is gonna be doing in this tier list. I would guess that she's gonna be in tier 0.5, and Jane Doe is actually gonna increase a tier because of Yuzuha. And one of my guess too, I feel like Yuzuha is gonna be in tier 0.5 support. I would not say tier 0 because I feel like Yuzuha being a physical not really anomaly maybe because she's next to Alice, but we can guess because of like the character and like the roles. We could guess that Chizuha is probably gonna be a physical support, and it's gonna be the rise of physical when Yuzuha comes out. So I would not say Yuzuha is gonna be in tier 0. I feel like she would be in tier 0.5. But yeah, overall that's it for my Apex character tiers. Let's see now on the meta characters. Let's see what happened here. There's literally no changes at all, which is kinda fire. Yeah, Anbi Soldier Zero Anbi. I think I said this before. Soldier Zero Anbi. Her team comp is just very limited. Yes, a lot of people are saying, oh, like Soldier Zero Anbi is strong. I didn't say Soldier Anbi is strong. It's not strong. I didn't say she's weak. I said that she's like her team is just very limited, and I just don't know. Like it's very limited because the thing is with Anbi, if you don't have trigger with Anbi is just so weak. And yes, you could use Chingy, but the thing is, Soldier Zero Anbi works with aftershocks a lot. So that means she's gonna be working a lot with those mechanics. Pull crack can help, yes, with Chingy, like double stun, I guess support, I don't know. But like you're gonna be losing a lot of damage because of like trigger not being on your Soldier Zero team. So yep, kinda sad for Soldier Zero. Ellen staying in tier 1. I'm super happy that she's still in tier 1. I would actually say yeah, she's not gonna be in tier 0.5, but I'm still super happy that Ellen is in tier 1. A lot of people are complaining that like Zuyuan is tier 1, Ellen is tier 1, but 1.0 character is stronger than 1.1. 1.4 character, I guess standard with yay. Like, isn't that crazy to think about? And thank God they buff Ellen, and I hope they buff Soldier 11 soon. And also at least like rework Harumasa's kit, you know, a little bit to make it more fair, so that people will use Harumasa more, and he will have more incentives to be used in like combat. Because from my experience and from people that I know, the people that play Harumasa are literally the people that are psychotic, or people that really likes him, or people that just wanna suffer more on their end game. So I would want Harumasa to be buffed soon. Jane though, staying here. I will say, like I said earlier, Jane is gonna be in tier 1 100% when Yuzuha comes out, but we still don't know Yuzuha's capability. So we could also argue that Jane Doe might go up in tier 0.5 and Piper might go up on tier 1, because that also means when Yuzuha comes out, Piper is gonna have a increase of damage wise or damage output wise. Okay. Oh, Lucy's being on tier 1. Yeah, fair. Actually fair. Rina being Rina M0 being on tier 1.5. Should I say it? I feel like Rina should go down. Like literally she doesn't have any value on M0. M1, M2, yes. I feel like M1, M2 she would be in tier 1, but M0 she just doesn't have anything. I feel like Rina is just that one character that, hey, you don't have any electric character on your slot tray, pick Rina. She can give you some stuff, but that's it, I guess. But I know this is like Rina slander. I really like Rina, don't get me wrong, but she is weak in M0. Okay, let's not lie about that. And Panhinu still being on tier 1 is amazing. Also, the partner tag on Jufufu should be removed. I feel like Jufufu should not have a partner tag, because it's like saying that it's limiting only to a YIXUAN team, where Jufufu can be used on any DPS that we have right now. Okay, and it's kind of sucky situation where Prydwen just put a partner tag because they think that Jufu is being carried by a DPS. But I would argue Jufufu is not being like carried by the DPS. I feel like Jufufu is carrying a DPS, and she can like hold herself up in this place without like the partner tag. I feel like, you know. Okay, I would argue Lycan should have the partner tag because of Hugo. Okay, I feel like Lycan should have a partner tag. Not Jufufu. anyways, that's my take about this partner tag thing. But yeah, Panhino being a partner tag, yeah, makes sense on tier 1 because we don't have any sheer force character in the game, and YIXUAN is in tier 0, being the only sheer rapture agent that have sheer force. So yep, makes sense. And everything, yeah, Soldier 11, your damage is just dog shit. Okay, M0 Soldier 11 is just dog shit, let's be honest. Okay, you guys keep depending Soldier 11 when your Soldier 11 is like M3 M6 because you keep losing your 50-50. Okay, do not compare your M6 M3 M1 M2 on your Soldier 11 on M0 Soldier 11. M0 Soldier 11 is dog shit. She's supposed to be in tier 2. Okay, you guys keep like saying Soldier 11 is strong. Of course your Soldier 11 is strong. Fucking hell, you have M1 M2 M3 M4 M5 M6, bro. That's why your Soldier 11 is fucking strong. Let's not argue about freaking Soldier 11 here, okay? Soldier 11 mains, fuck that girl, okay? She's the reason why I lost my 50-50 on FUFU. Fuck that. Anyways, Koleida being down here, oh, kinda sad. I really like Koleida. And I'm also sad that I won't use Koleida anymore. Or, like, you know, I won't use her for the time being because I already got Jufufu. Jufufu is strong for my Evelyn, so sorry, Koleida. Jufufu is basically like Koleida, but they added Jufufu like a big buff, and they added a aftershock effect on Jufufu. So basically, she's like an upgrade Koleida. I'm so sad to like, it's so sad to say that thing. But yeah, okay, niche characters. I don't really have anything to say about the niche character. I feel like we could say that niche character is just there existing. Okay, lastly, let's not see the change logs because this is the one that we need to see more. Okay, talk about this more. Okay, Jufufu. Along with Jufufu's release, we did some further testing with YIXUAN and finalized replacement along with good chunk of other stun and support agents. Okay, so so basically, the reason why Jufufu is here is because of YIXUAN. So that's why you put a partner tag. That's not fair. I feel like that's not fair. I feel like they should test Jufufu with like any other TPS in the game because Jufufu is like universal. Yes, the Jufufu works very well with YIXUAN, but that also means that Jufufu is carrying YIXUAN on tier 0. And that's kind of like, you know, hey, just tested Jufufu to YIXUAN. We didn't test any further. I feel like, okay, Prydwen, I feel like next update on this, you should test more Jufufu on any other TPS because it's not fair. Like, literally, it's not fair for Jufufu, and it's also not fair for YIXUAN because that indicates that Jufufu is like literally carrying YIXUAN, though she is in fact carrying, like, Jufufu is in fact carrying YIXUAN on tier 0. But anyways, let's see this details. Added to tier 0.5 stun with a partner tag. Jufufu has a niche, especially yes, Jufufu works very well with YIXUAN, but she's not a niche. Jufufu is not a niche. Okay, wait. Bro, like, Jufufu literally buff attack and rapture agent. Not only rapture agent, attack also. So you need to test Jufufu with attack characters like Evelyn, like even like Hugo, Ellen, like Zuyuan, or I guess you could also say freaking Soldier 0 and B. Test it with the attack characters too. It's not only Rapture. We only have one Rapture agent who buff better than anyone else and offer aftershock days, damage and days, but most important, buff all her top stats, crit, ultimate, chain attack damage, all of this without any limited W engine needed. Jufufu ability to give extra ultimate over time via her decibel increase and increase refund mechanics are also strong, in particular with YIXUAN, where Jufufu has flexibility outside these teams compared to Lighter and Lycon, who perform the best in any agent with some of the best DPS in the game, as well as Trigger, who's more universally strong buff. Jufufu would find herself somewhere between tier 1 and tier 1.5, depending on a team outside YIXUAN teams, most of having good synergy with Soldier 0, but even there, Trigger holds more value. Of course, because Trigger is like built for Soldier 0 and B. Of course, she's not gonna work very well with Soldier 0 and B. For this reason, we decided to go with the rankings that reflect her top performance with one of the best DPS in the game being YIXUAN, while giving her partner tag to reflect her tendency to be outclassed outside of this team. Did you test her with Evelyn? Did you test her with Hugo? Because if you said compared to Lighter and Lycon, sure, Lighter we can say it makes sense. what with Lycon? Literally you're like I feel like this is okay. This I feel like this is like a contradiction now because Lycon needs Hugo to be on tier 0.5. Lycon needs Miyabi on tier 0.5. So like what now? Also with Trigger. I mean Trigger is yes universalist strong because Trigger does a lot of damage and aftershock and she also gives buff. But objectively I feel like Yufufu is better. Just looking at like all the buffs that she gives. And I feel like putting Jufufu only next to Yishuan and putting Jufufu's value next to because of Yishuan, it's just an unfair thing to do for especially for a stun agent. And kind of disappointed about this. I'm happy that Jufufu is in tier 0.5, but I'm not happy the way they said the reason why Jufufu is tier 0.5. Jufufu should not have partner tag. Hugo should have a partner tag. Not Hugo, I mean Lycon should have a partner tag, not Jufufu. That's crazy. I feel like they forgot that Jufufu can work with attack agents. Yes, they tested Jufufu with Soldier Zero Anbi, but it's not even fair because Soldier Zero Anbi have trigger and Jofufu should be tested with Evelyn where literally her Jofufu's buffs can work very well with Evelyn. This is kind of crazy. And also with like freaking Hugo, she can work very well with Hugo. This is honestly like super disappointed by this, like literally this whole fucking paragraph about Yufufu. And I'm not even like lacing Yufufu. I just know her value, bro. There's like literally there's something more. There's something wrong with this placement. I mean not the placement, but there's something wrong about their, how should they say this, their objective opinion, I guess, or about Yufufu on the reasons why Fufu is in tier 0.5. That's my problem. It's not even the placement. I just have a problem on the reason why they put Fufu on tier 0.5. Like, that's crazy. Yishuan on tier 0. Let's see this. Expert watchlist remove. Yishuan was already second best DPS in the game. Now with Fufu can make she approach Miyabi closer than ever, most depending on enemy player skill, which implants what the Miyabi best in use in. They go back when first power level, which makes Yishuan the second ever DPS to tier 0 since the Void Hunter's release. I mean, Yishuan is a Void Hunter rank agent, so of course it's gonna be converted to a Void Hunter, like a literal Void Hunter. But also, this whole sentence also proves that Yufufu just carried Yishuan on tier 0. I would not say Yishuan doesn't deserve tier 0. I feel like you should be in tier 0. I said this before, but with Yufufu being there, I feel like that proves that Yufufu just like can be in tier 0.5 without Yishuan. I just disagree with that take, or that point of Chufufu literally need to be partnered with Yishuan to work to be in tier 0.5. I just don't know about that. You could because you could argue that with Lighter. You could argue that with Lycon. You could argue that with Chingy. Heck, you can also argue that with Trigger, even though her best in slot DPS is in tier 1. I don't know. It's like a crazy take about Chufufu, and this is like a slander. Slander. Anyways, Trigger to tier 0.5. Trigger's position in meta is too dependable on her signature W engine. Yup, I feel like, yeah, it makes sense. Which Arturus doesn't factor in. She has great team flexibility, but her defense shred, her signature weapon, makes her provide good chunk of the reasons why she's so efficient. Without her signature, she's not worth considering in nearly as many teams. Soldier Zero Banby is her best bet, but only in tier 1. Additionally, with Yufufu's release, she lost one of her top use cases in form of usual team where she's now outclassed. Of course she's gonna get outclassed. It's a fucking Jofufu. Lighter, who stood in the same tier as her up till now, has no reliance in his signature W engine to perform, even though a small boost of his performance. Now she's returning top tier synergy with most of the strongest DPS such as Evelyn Hugo, making him more desired. For this reason, with him, Trigger is a best fit alongside Jofufu and Lycon, but she's more comfortably in that spot, gains a lot of value in her signature in mind. Okay, that reasons of Trigger being a 0.5, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Just don't agree with Jofufu's reasonings on her being on 0.5. I feel like they should test Jofufu more. Like literally, there's no way that you're like basing off and adding Jofufu in tier 0.5 because of Yishuan. Is Jofufu's DPS only Yishuan? Because that's what basically they're saying, you know? and disappointed about that. And overall, there's literally nothing. I guess this one is also surprising. Caesar being a watch list. She contribute less to the party damage other buffer in current meta where watchlisting her potential to move tier. Okay, so they're putting her on a watch list because of tier 1 next update. Yep. Makes sense, makes sense. But I'm quite sad about that. But I feel like Zenless on Zero should be the one making something on the combat, like literally making Caesar more viable unlike the meta, but that also means that making the enemy stronger, which you all know what will happen when you make enemy stronger in Zenless Zone Zero. A lot of people will complain, so there's literally no winning about Caesar. But yeah, I guess overall that's the whole tier list. I'm quite sad about Jufufu's reasoning on being on tier 0.5. I feel like they should think more about why Jufufu deserves to be in 0.5. I just disagree. I mean, I agree with their reasoning, but also I disagree the fact that Jufufu's value is only dependent on Yixuan's being a top DPS or tier 0 DPS. Which is crazy to think when Jufufu can exceed well on Evelyn, Ugo. I could also argue freaking Ellen, and I'm kind of sad about that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope the next Prydwen tier list doesn't disappoint me as much as Jufufu thingy. And I hope they like update Jufufu's reasoning on why she's on tier 0.5. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this I guess this rant about this Prydwen tier list, and I'm gonna see you in the next Prydwen tier list. It's probably gonna be in 2 weeks. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye bye.